I wanted to get everyone's name wrong. Okay, a good night for Trump, but a bad one for the media. In tone and tenor, Trump seemed to nail much of it, like his uncompromising rejection of socialism.
We are alarmed by the new calls to adopt socialism in our country. America was founded on liberty and independence, and not government coercion, domination, and control. We renew our resolve that America will never be a socialist country.
Ugh. Unlike the juvenile tripe put forth by the naive faces of the opposition party, his words speak to the soul of anyone who remembers the Cold War. Bernie Sanders' face said it all. How dare Trump badmouth his favorite fantasy? Still, however, there was a lot here for the liberals to like. Shrinking the military footprint, paid family leave, AIDS funding, childhood cancer treatment. Yet all they can do is stare blankly with all the seriousness of sad pastry chefs. How do you know when you've done good when the people who can't stand you all look like villains at the end of a Karate Kid sequel? But there was also good stuff for righties, too. More defense spending, a defense for the unborn, a hardline stance on Russia and China, NATO paying its fair share. If I didn't know any different, I'd say there was something for everyone. And Trump did stress unity.
We must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential of cooperation, compromise, and the common good. We must choose between greatness or gridlock, results or resistance, vision or vengeance, incredible progress or pointless destruction.
Sounds conciliatory. No wonder the media hated it.
I saw this as a psychotically incoherent speech with cookies and dog poop.
Every leader, whatever your party, should be talking about climate change. It's just, you could have a debate about what to do about it, but that the President of the United States at this moment in the world did not mention climate change in even a sentence is just, frankly, a disgrace.
I have to say the word socialist is now becoming a buzzword like liberal and feminist, where the right wing is now taking that word and distorting it. It's being weaponized. Bastardized, that word.
Congratulations, Van Jones. Cookies and dog poop are the new Ben & Jerry's flavor. So right on cue, they react out of anger and fear that Trump wasn't divisive, which threatens the business model. For conflict leads to profit, and compromise won't pay the bills. Then came the reality check from CBS. 76% of viewers actually approved of the speech. That's a contrast with the Dems and the media. Could it be they were facing the wrong direction all this time? Which is why the Democratic response, written before Trump's speech, fell flat. It was like an NFL commercial after a final play. You know who won, so why stick around for that? All right, let's just go around this lovely table and ask what people's favorite or least favorite moments are. Why don't I start with you, Dana? What bugged you?
Okay, I'll tell you something that bugged me. I loved a line that he had.
Yes.
In which he's talked about we need to define a new standard of living for the 21st century. Because I felt like that was a line that was a big umbrella piece, and it's something that in all these different places we talk about AI disruption, worker retraining, the need for education, should we go to college or not, all of those things. And it was very visionary and big, and then there was like nothing.
Yeah. And
I was like, wait, like that's a good umbrella, and maybe they'll come back to it. So that bugged me a little bit. I also thought that the socialism moment was amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's like the first time a president of the United States has to stand on the floor of the House of Representatives and tell the country, like, we are not going to do socialism. I'm interested in Joy Behar.
Yes, that's her name.
Her take on socialism becoming a word. Like, well, we didn't call ourselves, we didn't label it. They're calling themselves that.
Exactly.
And we're just pointing out what it is. I mean,
that's a great point.
Nobody's making it up. I also thought that for Stacey Abrams, you know my rule, always say no to giving the response to the State of the Union. You will never have the stage that the president has. But as those things go, she got out pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, you were...
no, like, water moment.
She didn't watch the speech. You know that?
But because
she can't.
Yeah, right.
No, she could.
It's not a point-by-point rebuttal. You already have a response.
I would have done
about
that.
what you think the State of the Union looks like.
Well, you were crawling with good points today. Anyway, Jesse, what struck you?
I was impressed that the president was able to get Democrats to chant USA.
Yes, that's a good moment.
I never heard the Democrats chant USA. USA won. That was a nice moment to hear. I thought he successfully took unifying historical achievements in America, like landing on the moon and landing on the beaches of Normandy, and made people focus on that towards the future and say these are the kind of patriotic things we should rally around. Another key line I thought was this was an American agenda, not a Republican or Democratic agenda, and victory isn't winning for our party, victory is winning for our country, and he challenged the Congress to choose greatness instead of partisan destruction. I agree with Dana, the socialist line telegraphed 2020. He's going to say, they're for socialism, I'm for freedom. And, you know, he smoked Hillary. Imagine what he's going to do with an actual socialist. It's going to be deadly. Laid out areas of cooperation like NAFTA and I think medicine prices and things like that. But I think I was a real sucker for the end when he said, you know, from the rocky shores of Maine, from the volcanic peaks of Hawaii, we need to kind of keep faith in American destiny, keep America first, and keep our souls together. And it was a beautiful finish. And my part that I didn't like was when all of the women dressed in white were applauding louder for themselves than they were for American people and their accomplishments.
That's a good point.
Can I just jump in, not to step on Juan, but because my favorite moment is because Trump displayed what a master showman he is. He is a one-man good cop, bad cop, because he got all those Democratic women to stand up and applaud themselves. And then a few moments later, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm proposing a ban on late-term abortions. And he caught them sitting there. So they can't applaud for the life of an unborn child. And he, in terms of 2020, he is going to force everyone running for any office in the Democratic Party to come out and say, okay, I want to be one of the 7 nations in the world that allows abortions after 20 weeks. My favorite moment with Nancy Pelosi was I have resting bee face, just like Nancy Pelosi, where I look at rest like, I'm gonna cut you. She had to actively look pleasant that entire speech. It is exhausting to do that. It's like running from D.C. to Des Moines. So she gets some applause from.
I love the applause. We're going to talk about her applause later. You know, Juan, I appreciated your call last night when you said, Greg, you're right. It was a really great speech. I didn't save the voicemail, though.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, too bad. Too bad, because the ghost in the phone would have been delighted. But I must say, those are good drinks that you've been having. You know, so to me, this was, you know, last night I said it was a humdrum speech. And the reason I said that it sounded to me like color by the numbers on calls to unity. And then he would go and immediately throw out some red meat to the base on the kind of immigration stuff where he, you know, distorts numbers about immigrants. Oh, the caravan's approaching, they're deadly. You think, oh my gosh, is he going back to this same old song again? Everybody knows that was a one-hit wonder, and it isn't working. And he doesn't talk about the fact that the national emergency thing is totally ridiculous, even among Republicans at this juncture. But in answer to your question about favorite moment, I would go back to the women standing up and the women applauding themselves, and Trump acting as if he was the one who brought all these women to Congress. Now, I will say, maybe he did. Maybe he did, because if you go around insulting people,
was funny.
He's creating jobs for women.
Dana. He should have said, "You're welcome."
No, here's Dana. Dana, what's funny is they're all Democrats. Thank you.
That's why I'm saying it would have been funny if you had said, "You're welcome."
Yeah, but you know what? It's just it's the alternate universe that he tries to present. It's like watching all these Republican white men in dark suits, and then you watch this diverse group of women, and you say, hey, so this is what Trump has brought to America.
He played to their narcissism. They love cheering themselves. He played them.
But he also gave him a nice moment. Like, he was recognizing that.
Oh, get out of town.
I thought it was good-natured.
He's a narcissist who was saying he deserves credit. It's
He wasn't trying to take credit, Juan.
He was having fun.
Yeah.
Also,
my favorite moment when they sang Happy Birthday to the Nazi.
That was great.
Talk about trying to gild a lily. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Singing Happy Birthday is gilding a lily?
Now he is somehow responsible for that.
But he didn't do that. No, Trump didn't do that.
That was an organic moment from
Nancy Pelosi
was
even singing.
No, he stopped because he was trying to take advantage of a moment. But I think
Juan's again singing Happy Birthday.
Yeah, to Survivor. All right. Okay.